Hi, welcome to Hockmeyer Equipment. I'm Dustin Thomas, and in this video I will be explaining to you how to assemble the HCP Quarter Mill with the sweep arm attachment. Now this is the mill right here completely broken down. If you watched our previous video on the HM 1/16 micro mill, we had the option where we could convert this to a high-speed single shaft disperser. With this mill we cannot due to the cooling lines which actually flow through the rack dome to help cool the batch. Now to start with the assembly of the mill. As in the previous video on the HM 1/16 quarter micro mill, we also have flats on the shaft here which we want to line up on the set screw so it doesn't spin off of it as the batch is in process. I'll insert the shaft. Tighten my set screws up a little bit. For now I want to make sure the shaft is pushed all the way up, and then after I get my screen and my roll-on bushing and counter peg and peg hub, all that assembled, then I'll push my shaft down, which I will show you later. I got my set screws tightened down, the shaft pushed all the way up just to hold it in place for now. The next step will be to put on the auger. With the auger, you also want to push this all the way up for now so you can load the media into the basket. The next step would be to put on the peg hub, which is just like you saw on the 1/16 micro mill. This also screws on. Now, next step is the addition we have here called the counter peg insert. This was not in the video for the HM 1/16 mill just because the tolerances were too tight between the actual peg hub and the screen, being that it was such a small screen itself. In this one we have a little bit more room to play, so the tolerances aren't as tight so we can use it with bigger media. What this does, this goes inside the screen itself. Sits like that on top of the flange, kind of inside the flange actually. After that we'll flip the screen over. The last roll-on bushing for the micro mill, it actually went in the top. This one goes in the bottom and it has screws that screw in. Now I'm going to go ahead and put the basket on. After you get all 4 of your bolts in, you want to make sure you go back around and just snug them up. Alright. Now the last step for putting the mill together is put the bottom prop on. But before that, we need to make sure we drop the shaft down. As in the 1/16 video, you want the shaft to sit on the roll-on bushing. Pick it up and push it down just to make sure that's all the way down. Make sure my shaft is still on the flats. Tighten back up. Now we'll put the prop on. Lift my auger back up to the highest point that I can get it so I can load the media easily. And now we're ready to load the media. That under there to catch the water. Alright. Just a little bit more. Now since I don't have the tank under here, I don't have the limit switch triggered, so I can't start the mill. So what I'm going to do is just spin it by hand just to get the media to go down into the bead field. A little bit more and we'll be good to go. Run a little bit more water back down through the mill. Just to get all my media down into the bead field so it doesn't get stuck behind that auger. Alright, now we're ready to drop the auger down. As I showed in the 1/16 video, you want to fill the media up to the bottom of that, right at that bevel line, Then you want to drop your auger. You want to split it half and half. 2 flights in, 2 flights out. Now on this mill that is not on the micro mills, there is also flats where the auger sits. And that is the quarter mill completely assembled. The only addition we have now is to add the sweep arm to the tank, which I will go ahead and do so. Now this sweep arm is just like the one for the HM 1/16 micro mill. Has 3 pins. Put it on, you want to make sure they're pulled out. The only difference on this is it has 2 scrapers on the top and 3 on the bottom, just because it's a little bit bigger. Also, when you put this on the vessel itself and you have it running in the batch, you want to make sure that your product is flowing up this, pumping it from the bottom up, recirculating back into the top of the mill where the auger will pick it up and then feed it back through the mill, and it'll start all over again. Alright, I'm going to lock my pins in. You hear them click. Now I'll spin it until I find the holes they're supposed to go in. There we go. They're locked in. Alright, one last thing. I want to make sure you put the cover on it. Now the air assist on this is just like the one on the micro mill, except on this one it has an exhaust. It's a little muffler just because this is a little bit louder. Want to make sure all your hoses are properly installed. I'll hook the air up to it. Go ahead and strap the vessel down, make sure it is secure. to move the vessel to the center of the mill. So there we are. And now you're ready to mill. And at this time, I'll let the camera come in closer. Alright, now we're ready to mill. I'm going to lower the basket down into the vessel. I'm going to run it to start getting the air bubbles out. Go down in slowly. As you can see, the air bubbles starting to come to the surface. Speed it up. You can turn the sweep on. That was running the mill at 60 hertz. Alright, I'm going to stop it. Pull it up out of the vessel. I'm going to jog it outside of the vessel just to get all the excess material out of the screen. And there you saw an up close and personal view of the actual mill in operation. Now, since you just saw a little glimpse of the actual milling process, after the batch was successfully milled, what you do is you take your tank out and you take this over to your filling station, wherever that may be. For now, I'm going to slide it over to the side. And at this point, this is where you would get your wash. Get about a gallon container, maybe a little bit bigger. Put your solvent in or whatever your wash is. You drop the mill back down in, as we did in the HM1/16 video. You drop your mill back down into your solvent or your wash. Run it for a few minutes just to get all the excess out. Then you bring your mill back up. Depending on the viscosity or the thickness, the stickiness of your product, your mill may be clean, your mill may still have some residual product left on. You may have to wipe it down, scrape it down. But for the most part, the bead field will be clean for the majority of it. Now, we're back to the breakdown part of it. The first thing we'll do is we'll unscrew the bottom prop. I'll lower my mill down. This is going to be my cup here to catch the media. Next step would be to start loosening up the bolts of the screen. Now once you get to this point, you get down to your last bolt or two, you want to make sure you got your finger over top of the shaft, so when that shaft comes out of the roll-on bushing, your finger's there to plug the hole so the media can't come spewing out the bottom. Alright. Now I'm taking off the last bolt. I got my hand over top of the shaft. Slide my cup underneath. Pull it down. Wash the media out. Now I'll take the counter peg insert out. Make sure we get all the media off of that. Screen's done. I'm gonna lift up the mill a little bit, just so I can see under here and make sure I got all the media off of the rack dome, peg hub. Drop it back down. Now we'll take off the peg hub. Dip it in water, make sure the media's off. Next is the auger. Last is the shaft. And now we're back to square one where we first started. Now you've seen how to assemble the sweep arm and disassemble the mill for the HCP Quarter Mill. We here at Hockmeyer thank you very much for your time and interest in our equipment, and hope to be keeping you tuned in to some future videos. Thank you.